Hi, and thanks for listening to Gossip with Celebrity, brought to you by Celebrity.com. This week, we talk about the royals, Angelina Jolie, and Justin Bieber. Our user feedback is about how readers found us, and we end with our weekly feature, The Comments of the Week. The stories and photos we talk about can be found at Celebrity.com/podcast under episode 32. Hi, I'm Katie, the founder and editor of Celebrity.com, and I write as Celebrity.
And I'm Chandra. I'm the head writer for Celebrity, and I write as Kaiser.
So this week was just awesome, and I don't want to jinx anything, but it was really good.
Yeah, it was good on a few different levels. Politics. I was back to watching the news. It was...
Right?
Gossip was interesting, and yeah, it was just a really good week.
It was an excellent week. So hopefully, it'll probably take a while, but hopefully we'll have some impeachment proceedings happening soon. That would be awesome.
All of the hearings and people giving testimony before House committees, that's just going to be fascinating.
It's going to be awesome.
And a few hours ago, we're recording this on Thursday, Trump got in front of the cameras and asked China to investigate Joe Biden.
Oh my gosh. I thought it was funny enough that he did it with Ukraine and then Australia. I was taking a nap this afternoon. I didn't even hear that.
No, it really happened in front of all these reporters and cameras. He was like, China, if you're listening.
Oh my gosh.
He even phrased it as a quid pro quo, like he was going to increase tariffs if they didn't open an investigation.
He already did that.
I know.
You know?
He's going to do more.
Oh my gosh. It's so funny.
Well, you've been tweeting about jumping, plane jumping.
Yes, I'm going to jump out of a plane. And I figure the more I tweet about it and tell people, the more accountable I am to actually do it.
I mean, I love you and I would do a lot of things for you, but I'm not jumping out of a goddamn plane for you. I would be scared absolutely shitless.
That's what everybody said. I found two people who I don't even know that well who agreed to do it with me. And we made a pact. Like, none of my core group of friends, they were all saying, that's great, but I'm not going to go. And then I found two women and we agreed together to do it. And I texted them together. I started like a group text when we agreed. And only one woman got back to me and she was like, oh, I'm going out of town, but send pictures. So she did. That was a good way to handle it. I get it. I'm doing it because I covered that interview with Viola Davis in April. Ever since I saw it, she was on Access Hollywood and she said that she jumped out of a plane. And after she did that, she felt like she could do anything. And I was like, well, she has an Oscar. Like, this has got to be scary as hell. And that kind of inspired me. So that's why I'm doing it.
Yeah, but she won an Oscar for the movie that she shouldn't have won the Oscar for, you know?
It's not her fault, yeah, that movie sucked, but she's good, yeah. I just meant she's been on the Oscar stage.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, she was rocking those sneakers at the Emmys. I love her. She's the best. I just always like watching her interviews. She's the best.
Well, she walks like a truck driver. And have you noticed that, like, Julia Roberts does that too? Like, those are the two big ones, I think. That neither one can walk in heels.
She said on Kimmel that her husband calls her Frank because she walks like Frankenstein when she's in high heels. And she kind of has a very wide-legged walk when she's wearing those sneakers, too. She's like, But there's something bold about that. Just you're owning your space.
Yeah.
Whatever.
I like when people wear comfortable shoes to most of those award shows. I don't think you should wear sneakers to the Oscars, but if you do, maybe it'll be awesome. I don't know. I'll probably judge you, but...
I would love to own some of those really designer high-end shoes, but I console myself by thinking that they're super uncomfortable and I wouldn't want to wear them anyway, which is why I wear wedges a lot. They're so comfortable.
I have like pairs of like wedge flip-flops, you know, like flip-flops with the big heel.
Yeah, those are cute.
And I mean, they're not more or less comfortable than regular flip-flops, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, flip-flops are the most comfortable you can get, depending on if they pinch your toe We could talk about shoes for a while and I would be happy, but we should probably move on.
Yeah, let's just talk about royals.
Okay. So we heard that Meghan and Harry are suing the Mail on Sunday for their publication of a letter she sent her father after he ditched her wedding. And you wrote about this, and she set that up so brilliantly.
Yeah, and I knew that at the time, and we talked about this on the podcast before, the chess game that she was playing with that whole thing.
Yeah.
Chronologically, this is what happened. So Thomas Markle spent months smearing his daughter and giving interviews, and this was before the wedding and after, and he set up photos and he did all this stuff,
and most importantly, he ditched her wedding last minute and said he had a heart attack, but that was bullshit. He did not.
Right. And so then in August of last year, she sent him a handwritten letter basically saying, if you ever want to be in my life again, these are the things you need to do. She also, just kind of laid him out, said, I don't appreciate all this crap that you've been doing and all the interviews you've been giving. And I don't appreciate that you didn't even come to my wedding. And so she wrote all this, and he never revealed the letter. He went on for months about how she wouldn't even communicate with them. She wouldn't call him. And so she had her friends go to People magazine and say she sent him a letter.
This was her cover story, which came out in February. Right. Which was really nice. Good positive stuff about
right.
her.
It was very obviously orchestrated by Meghan and by her media team, but I don't want to say like the whole Kensington Palace, because that was when they were still under Jason Knopf and all those people. So I think she was just really working with a small group and mostly her friends to like push back on a lot of the story. And they brought up this idea that she sent her dad a letter. So after that, her dad, of course, went to the British press and sold the letter. He sold the letter to the Mail on Sunday, and they published it. And not only does the letter prove that she was in contact with him and that she tried to explain to him what he could do, and thus exposed her father as this extreme liar. But now, because the Mail on Sunday published it, she gets to sue the Mail on Sunday. It's just brilliant. Yeah. It's a brilliant scheme.
It was really smart. And she wasn't manipulative, but she knew that he would be that way. So she set it up.
Mm-hmm.
And narcissists are predictable. So he sold it right after she told the story about it. And Harry wrote this really strongly worded letter, which was kind of wonderful. They're suing for this, but they're also putting the press on notice, which was smart.
Yeah. And a lot of people are like, oh, but the press around the tour was so good. Yeah, but Meghan and Harry have been seeing this for a year. As soon as they get one small sliver of good press, it will immediately turn bad. And even with or without the lawsuit, the press would have turned on them over nothing. They would have made up some story, and all of a sudden it would be all these racist dog whistles and, oh, they flew on a private jet again, or, oh, Meghan wore jeans, or...
There already were those. Yeah. Before this came out, Bip had that terrible story on page 6 calling Meghan sneaky. That is such a dog whistle. It was disgusting. And sneaky because she was, like you said, she was friendly and engaged with people.
I knew that as soon as that Katie Nichols story came out in Vanity Fair ahead of the tour, was that she quoted extensively from that Ingrid C-word. She basically set it up as... they're damned if they do, damned if they don't. They had to show off Archie, and if they were showing off Archie, it was because the press demanded it. Meghan had to dress a certain way, or she would be screwed.
Yeah.
And if she didn't dress this way, then she would be screwed, and blah, blah, blah.
I'm kind of lost, but that was when she said, well, they said you have to show off the baby.
Yes. And
by saying that, it made it seem like the press demanded it and they were capitulating.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
The media were, they felt free to take credit for the fact that Archie came out for the tour. Archie was always going to come out for the tour.
So it's good that they're suing them. Maybe the press will calm down a little bit after this.
I doubt it, but I think that Meghan and Harry just feel like they're making that risk. The press was going to fuck with them anyway. Might as well take it to them. Might as well sue them. Might as well show it that they're not going to take it lying down.
I'm glad they did it. The latest news coming out was that from The Sun was condemning Harry for this strongly worded statement because he didn't contact the senior royals or senior advisors and his family. Well, but then Lainey said that he did. Yeah.
The Sun had one version. The Daily Mail had another version. It was basically like a few different people all around were saying maybe he told the Queen, but maybe he didn't tell his father. Maybe he told some royal courtier. Maybe he didn't. I don't think he would have gone completely off and done this all on his own. I really don't. But I do think that he and Meghan told very, very few people.
Because they wanted to keep it tight.
Exactly. And that's Meghan's influence too. Meghan has shown that she puts people around her who can keep a friggin' secret. She'll reveal something and she's been working on it for months and months and we haven't heard a word about it.
Oh, like the Smart Works collection.
Yeah.
She taught Harry a lot, and maybe she helped him with that letter too, because it had some of her wording in it. You know?
Well, if she had written it, it would have been a lot longer, and we would have had to hear about how her dog was on the lap or on her lap, and all
my
this
dog
stuff.
Was there.
Oh, you wanted to talk about her shirt dresses, which... Oh.
I love shirt dresses. I just wore one on Saturday. I love a good shirt dress.
I'll say one nice thing. That white shirt dress that she wore, or cream shirt dress, It was very pretty. I really did like that one.
It was really pretty, and I liked a couple of the other ones she wore. But she also is breastfeeding, and she kind of alluded to that. Like she needed easy access or whatever.
Right. And I will just say one bad thing about shirt dresses is that I feel like it's a small breast privilege thing. Because
it could be, yeah.
Yeah, I have very big boobs and I look like 10 kinds of hell in a shirt dress.
I never even thought of that. It's definitely true. I didn't think Meghan was small boobed, but she's like medium, right?
Well,
I consider it small.
Yeah, I mean, she's a very petite woman and I think if she wasn't breastfeeding, she'd probably be a B cup, maybe.
Okay. So, I don't want to tell you what size. I'm an A cup. I have no boobs. So.
But yeah, you have to be built a certain way to pull off a shirt dress. And I'm not built that way. So that's why I get a little bit mad at the shirt dresses. Plus, Meghan did wear some bad ones. Come on.
She did. And I don't like the trench dresses. That's a trend. That trend is never going to catch on either. It doesn't matter how beautiful and influential she is. That trend is not going to catch on. They're not cute.
No, the Banana Republic one was especially hideous. Ooh.
They were both ugly, the repeated one and that one. But anyway, whenever I see her photos, though, I feel happy because there is a genuine warmth and naturalness about her. And you can tell she's really engaged with people and what she's doing.
Right.
It just comes through in her face. She just comes across like a really great person.
And she's just beautiful and she looks very well rested. She looks healthy. And it's nice to see that. You know, she doesn't look pained. She doesn't look like she hates to be there. She enjoys this. She enjoys the royal work. And that shows.
That's a good point. I didn't think of it like that either. So Angelina Jolie is doing press for Maleficent. And it's been kind of nice because she gives great interviews.
Yeah. And she hasn't done that in a while. Mm-hmm. I was trying to remember the last time she really did a big promotional tour. It's been a few years. So she's got a lot of stuff to say. And I feel like now that her divorce is, I would hope, coming to a close, it's been 3 years.
That's not even finished yet, huh?
No, it's mostly done, but they still have to finalize it. And I think the financials are the last part of it.
So she gave this quote that sounded like it would have been about Brad Pitt, but it was unclear. Mm-hmm. And she didn't specify. She said, "There have been times in my life where I have not felt free. I have not felt safe. I have not felt like free of harm. I have felt small. I have felt cornered. And it has taken a lot to find that again." I think she means it's taken a lot to find her own strength again.
Right.
But I can relate to that.
Yeah, I can relate to it too. And just the feeling that you're just not in a good place.
Yeah.
We're projecting that it's about Brad, it's about her last marriage. But I think she was talking in both maybe specific terms and general terms of sometimes when you're a woman, you feel like the rug has been pulled out from under you. And,
like when her mom died, she was really hurting after her mom's death.
Right.
But
what I kept thinking about was that every story about what happened on the plane was that Maddox got involved because he stepped in between his parents.
He was protecting them. We also, it's just sad.
It is sad, but I like that she's starting to come out of her shell a little bit and talk about it more, because she has tried to project this very strong image that she was resilient, that she was untouched by all of Team Pitt's attacks. And she's like saying, the past few years have really hurt.
Do you remember when Jennifer Lopez alluded to issues in her marriage to Marc Anthony, and she never named him, but it was something kind of similar?
Yeah.
Where she said she felt emotionally abused.
I do remember that. And I think we all believed it was about Marc Anthony because of the same kind of rumors, that he was very controlling, that he could be obsessive with her.
Yeah.
And I believe that. I mean, from what we did see of that marriage, he just seemed like such a jerk to her.
Yeah, he really was.
But he also adored her. He put her up on a pedestal. It was very difficult.
Sometimes you see that with those type of relationships. Yeah, so then Us Magazine published an article where they said Angelina felt pressured to marry Brad, that she's never going to marry again. And it's hard to know if that is an actual truly source to her people. I doubt it, just because Us is kind of trashy lately. But
plus, it's more like an educated guess. Of course, after like this 3-year divorce debacle that isn't even over, she's going to be gun shy about marriage. I hope that she does not marry again, or if she does, she waits a long time and really feels like the guy is trustworthy and all of that. I don't think she'll marry again, though. As for whether or not Brad pressured her, I think the kids pressured both of them.
That's what they said at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And who knows why that was. It could have been because they saw their parents having problems and they thought that would solve it,
I think that's probably it.
Yeah. So Justin Bieber and Hailey Baldwin had a big wedding blowout. They've been married officially for a year because they wanted to have sex, and they thought they needed that to have sex. And they had a big party in South Carolina with like 150 people.
In defense of Justin and Hailey waiting to have sex, first of all, they'd already had sex when they dated years before.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And then they waited to have sex the second time around because he believed that he was very toxic in relationships and he didn't want to even introduce sex, which I sort of respect. I halfway respect that.
Yeah, you covered all those stories with him. I remember that now. And
yeah.
I thought it was just because he was born again or whatever through that culty church they belong to. But that's probably part of it, too. Yeah,
they talked about it in Vogue when they did that Vogue interview. And I thought he came across as very authentic, that he admitted that he was very toxic in relationships and toxic with women.
He's working on himself. Yeah.
Yes. So
we talked about that on the podcast ages ago.
Yeah. I really loved that interview. It was totally messy and it was so much fun. It reminded me of a real old school 90s interview. Anyway, I didn't have any problem with the wedding stuff. I thought the wedding seemed like it was very chilled out, relaxed. I thought Justin and Hailey probably had a really great time. They invited all their friends. They went to South Carolina. They rented out a hotel. It seemed like a really just nice wedding. Yeah, it did.
Then they bought 2 purebred cats for $35,000. They're a savannah breed, which is part domestic cat and part African serval. They're super pretty, but as you wrote, it doesn't make them any more calm than a regular cat. And they already have dogs. And the picture that you posted of the cats just taking over the dog bed and the dog putting up with it and laying there like, this is my life now, you know? I felt bad for that dog.
Even if you're getting a especially like purebred cat because it's, you know, more like a wild animal, or it jumps really high, or it has a particular kind of spot or a particular kind of marking, you can go to a humane society and find a little old alley cat who will have similar markings and be able to jump and still be a little asshole. And that cat will be free.
Yeah, or in need of a home, too.
Exactly.
Yeah, and he bought himself a $65,000 watch.
I mean, a lot of men collect expensive watches.
That's what they do instead of jewelry. My ex is like that. He has a ton of watches. Not like that, you know, $100 watches, $1,000 watches.
Yeah, I mean, and Justin bought a good brand. I don't have any real opinion about buying himself an expensive watch, but don't spend $35,000 on cats. Just go to the Humane Society and get a cute little kitty, and I swear to God, they'll do the same thing as a purebred cat.
Yeah, or maybe
they're cats.
Be more docile.
They are cats. You do not have to spend $35,000 on them.
No, that's like me spending $350 on a.
The cats are beautiful, though.
They're really pretty. Yeah, they're super pretty cats.
They look like
so
they're already
naughty.
Yeah, they look like they're already plotting against him. They're like, "Ooh, we are gonna scratch this motherfucker up."
They have that naughty look because they're so beautiful and wild looking. All right, let's move on to the user feedback. So in the comments for our post on podcast 31, I made the title to that post a little clickbaity because I wanted people to listen to the podcast.
Oh, I completely understand and I agree with that. I try to make clickbaity titles and everything.
I mean, we don't write, you'll never believe what happened next. And we don't have like 15 pages you have to scroll through. So it's not that bad, but you have to do that sometimes, and people complain about it, but they won't comment or open it if we don't do that.
Right.
So I said that Leanne Rimes' people contacted us, and that is true. I mean, it was about a licensing thing. But in the comments for that, Evelyn Pierce gave a long update on Leanne, and she follows her on Instagram, and basically she's up to the same old tricks. So nothing has changed. She's just not getting any press for it. And then Cristin said, she is the reason I came to this site circa 2012 to 2013. And that's Cristin, I should say. And Lady D said that it was that sadistic harpy Kate Goslin who brought me to this site in 2008, 2009. So thanks for reading us for so long. That's incredible. People have been around 10 years.
I don't remember Kate Goslin being a huge story.
That was a big thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Well, you did a lot of coverage of Kate Goslin back in those days, but I remember it just being a very brief story. Like, it was just a big deal for like 2 months, 3 months. Am I remembering that right?
It was about a year. And John Goslin was friends with Lindsay Lohan's dad, and he dated that drunk Star magazine writer. Kate Major. And then she got into this horrible abusive relationship with
Michael Lohan.
Yeah. And then, yeah, that was a mess. I remember her crying on the morning talk shows saying that John made all these promises to her and he went back on them, and she quit her job at Star magazine. Yeah, she needed to get sober. But yeah.
I just feel like Leanne was the story that stuck for longer and it had more moving pieces. But I understand.
It was. Yeah,
like the Kate Goslin thing turned trashy, like too trashy in a millisecond. It was like, it got so bad that I was like, no, I really don't care about any of these people. But with the Leanne thing, I was enchanted with it for years and years.
That's trashy too, but at least there's more details about it, and it did have some unpredictability to it. So we got a text from Dog Obsessed Girl about the fact that we find Great British Baking Show relaxing. She said that she works at a doggy daycare and they play Great British Baking Show for the dogs, and the dogs are soothed by it.
I totally understand that, because when I had my beloved Pogu, my black dog,
Aww.
He was a Newfie mix. He preferred certain TV shows. He did not care for Game of Thrones. He would always go to a different room while I was watching Game of Thrones. But he loved The Closer. I think he liked Keira Sedgwick's voice.
Oh, yeah.
And he loved British stuff. Anytime I would watch a British show, he would watch with me.
Oh, that's so cute.
And now the cats like tennis. The cats like tennis.
Oh, because they could watch the ball.
Yeah, I don't know. They just like the sounds, maybe, or maybe how quiet it actually is. I don't know.
Okay, but how much other stuff are you watching other than tennis? I'm sorry. I had to say it.
That's very true. Because, well, I think they prefer the tennis to like other shows. They don't seem to like the cooking shows, the cats. And they don't seem to like the news as much because people are yelling more often. But the tennis is relaxing to them.
Nice. All right, let's move on to the comments of the week. Before we get into this, I have to say that we didn't pick funny ones, so...
Yeah, I have a theme with my 2 comments of the week, and you have a theme as well, so...
Okay, so my comments of the week are on the post about the rogues gallery around President Trump and how they're going down. And I've since read this in several other places, and it's a common sentiment, but I thought it was so true, and I wanted to say it. So the lead into the comment of the week is by Virgin Fangirls. That's a great nick. And she said, many have sold their souls for money and power in the Trump circle, but I doubt they will continue to sell their to sell their souls just to protect Trump. Those type of people are truly not loyal. And then Charlie Penn said, yes, he surrounds himself with rats. And what do rats do when a ship is sinking? They jump ship. As soon as these trash people he has surrounding him see that they have more to gain from turning on him, they will. I can't wait for the ship to sink and to see all the rats paddling around trying to save their own asses.
That's very true. It's very true. I think Bill Barr is going to stick with them for a little while longer, but we'll see.
And that's already happened with so many of his former advisors who've just spoken out against him and whatever he's doing. It's like, even the most despicable people can't stay with him.
All right. My comments of the week are from the same, the Vanity Fair cover story is Joaquin Phoenix. And in the Joaquin Phoenix cover story, there's an interview with Todd Phillips. So I chose 2 comments from both stories. So Todd Phillips was bitching and moaning about the era of woke culture and how it's destroying comedy. And Original Lala said, when white men lament how unfair it is that they can no longer punch down on marginalized groups, it tells me all I need to know about them. Which is so precise and accurate. I was like, God damn, she should have written this story. Because I was like going on and on about that. And she just summarized it in 1 line.
Maybe she read what you wrote and then summarized it. It's not necessarily that she would have come up with that, but it's accurate.
It's very accurate, and it's exactly what I was trying to say, and she said it perfectly. So thank you, Original Lala. And then in the actual post about Joaquin's interview with Vanity Fair, I excerpted the part of the story where he was talking about making sweet potatoes for his vegan dogs. And
dogs are vegan? Oh my gosh, when I read that comment, I thought he was making vegan hot dogs.
No.
I didn't.
So
dogs vegan.
There were a million comments about how he's raising his dogs vegan.
That's so wrong.
And Original Rose wrote, yeah, I used to have a massive crush on him around the To Die For years as well, but this article really kills my lady boner. Vegan dogs give me strength.
I've read so many articles about how you're not supposed to force your cats or dogs to be even vegetarian. That's, oof. Yeah. Okay.
It's bad. The article was interesting. The interview was interesting, but the whole vegan thing, he talked a lot about it, and it was not great.
I mean, it's fine for you, but don't force your dogs or your kids to be that way. We're going to get hate mail after I said kids in there, but...
No, I totally agree with you. Don't force your kids to be vegan.
I get vegetarian, yeah.
I understand vegetarian. I understand. But don't force your kids to be vegan.
All right. Thanks for listening, bitches.
Go ahead and just hate on us. Go ahead and scream at us. I don't care. Don't raise your kids vegan. Let them make that choice when they're in college like everybody else.
My parents were vegetarian, so I just decided to keep eating meat just to spite them. It's true. All right. Thanks for listening, bitches.
Thanks, bitches.
Thanks for listening to the Celebrity Podcast. We're now on iHeartRadio. If you like us, tell a friend. And if you subscribe, review, and rate us wherever you listen, it helps us out. We need more voice messages to play on the show, and you can leave us one at 434-218-3219. Our music is from Premium Beat, AA Alto, and Maiden. Thanks again.